Unless you have like a serious excuse, obviously I would, give you a pass. But if your reason for coming is I'm wrong and that's why I'm not coming, coward. Um, when Ovechkin is on 893, so one away from tying the record, I will be hosting a series of not parties, but open house where all my closest hockey fan friends and family are welcome to come over and share beverages and food with me while waiting for Ovechkin to score the goal. I want to be surrounded by my favorite hockey people because that is going to be a monumental day in NHL history. I'm going to have an Ovechkin jersey by the start of next season. That is my goal. That will probably be my next jersey because I have to have one now. Like, that's just, I got to have one now. If we get there, I want to be surrounded. I mean, I legitimately think the game doesn't resume for an hour once it happens.
Kind of like LeBron when he brought the point-to-point record.
Exactly. And I just, they're going to pour over the bench. He's going to shake hands with every player on the other team. I hope it's in Washington. Me and Joey were talking to our old co-host, obviously. He said he wouldn't be mad if he did it against the Bruins because then he knows for a fact he will be watching it like the whole game. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I kind of agree. He scored his 700th against the Devils. I wouldn't mind if he broke the record against them. I really wouldn't. It's just such a cool. I'm a hockey fan first, and man, that would be a cool moment if this does end up happening.
If he did it, it would come against the Hawks because he got a hat trick and got his 800th against the Hawks. Like, I just knew it was coming, so it's just poetic. So,
I think the second tickets go on sale, because with Chicago Hockey Now, my brand new writing opportunity, I like to think I'll be credentialed for next season. But I think I would like to attend the Capitals' visit to the United Center as a fan. I'm going to see if I can make that happen because I very much would like to, I would like to see him come in. Before we resume our Ovechkin conversation, Thomas Gage always says the wrong thing. Detroit was Detroiting, and now Detroit is un-Detroiting. They actually look like they might make the playoffs.
So I got something to say before we resume. Go
ahead.
I did get it to work on YouTube now. We're now live on YouTube.
Let's go. Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Both responding. So anybody on Facebook, if you prefer to watch it on YouTube, or if you're on X,
back on YouTube.
We're back live on YouTube. It was a Streamyard problem, but we're live again, and we can continue.
Respond to Thomas Gage. Is it Thomas Gage hatred for Detroit taking over him? Are they kind of?
Is Thomas Gage from Detroit? I need to get a familiarized. Like, what is this whole Detroit thing? Is he a hater of Detroit, or is he a fan of Detroit?
I think people from Chicago generally don't like Detroit.
Is he from Chicago? Are we just assuming? So. I want the facts.
He does point out they're 4-4-2 in their last 10, which is correct.
They did Detroit. They're playing better lately. For the second, I would say for the last quarter of the season, they've been really bad.
Yeah, they did lose yesterday.
Yeah.
They were back in a playoff spot until yesterday, though.
Correct. I don't think Kane made a mistake for going to Detroit. I think that he went there because he saw the potential. There's a lot of young guys there, and their core being as young as it is, he knew they would have a chance to do what they're doing right now. It does kind of suck that they fell off the past quarter of the season, but lately, the past handful of games, they have been better. Yeah, the last 10's not great. But yeah, I don't think it was a mistake, to answer your question. I think he made the right decision, and it still could pan out for him and be pretty good. They make the playoffs.
Let's pretend we live in a world let's pretend your opinion is that every team that had a chance to make the playoffs coming into November-ish, you consider them a good team, right? Even if they're a bubble team that just misses. You are a good, the Wild are a good team, right? The Blues are a good team. They're probably not going to make the playoffs, but I would consider them a good team that's going to just miss. There's a lot of teams like that in the East. Of all those teams in the West or the East, would any of them have given Patrick Kane the ice that Detroit has? I think the list is few and far between.
I also
And
think
they
Kane
have
didn't go there. They have what?
They have DeBrincat. I think that played a big role in it. You could finish your thought.
I also don't think he went there with the mindset that they're going to win the division. I think he kind of knew what he was going into, that they probably would be right around a bubble team. So I don't think they're really under exceeding expectations here or underperforming to his expectations. I don't know. I think it's kind of right what he expected. It was going to be a battle. The tough division. It was never a guarantee, but I think he liked what he saw there in their young guys. I think DeBrincat obviously played a role in that. Thomas Gates says Kaner would have been even better served joining the Sabres. Detroit without Kane is not even a 30-win team. If Detroit didn't have Patrick Kane, yeah, they probably wouldn't be on a bubble right now.
I don't agree.
I agree because he has how many his production this year. You take that away, they're missing at least 6 points in the standings, guaranteed.
Maybe I don't feel that way about a winger on most teams except for Kucherov and Pastrnak.
Do you think they'd be better or the same? Saying they'd be the same is crazy.
I don't think they'd be better, obviously, but I think about the same. Yeah, I do. Because somebody else would have. I mean, he's got 20. I'm not saying Patrick Kane's been playing bad and unimpactful. I'm not saying I think they would even be where they are. I don't think they would be not even a 30-win team. I don't think he takes away 7 wins from them. No, I don't.
No, I don't either. I think he takes away 3.
Maybe
20
3.
goals.
The game against the Hawks. The game against the Hawks certainly.
That doesn't happen if he does. Right. I think he's contributive enough to give him the respective 6 points.
Yeah,
that's a lot. They would not be in the predicament they're in right now. 20 goals from any team.
If you take Dylan Larkin or Moritz Seider off the Red Wings,
it's the same thing.
Then I think they stink.
See, it's
I just Dylan Larkin, the number 1 center, and Moritz Seider, who especially in the second half has just been a dog, but for the entire season, basically a top defenseman that's probably going to get $9 million on his next contract. I think you take those guys, and let's not forget DeBrincat in the beginning of the season was red hot before Kane got there, and basically since Kane got there, he's been ice cold. I don't know what the hell. I don't get that really. I thought it'd be the opposite, but I mean, yeah, Detroit's an interesting team. I don't think they're going to be the team that gets in. Maybe they will though. I kind of think the Islanders and the Penguins are going to be the ones that stick it out. To be honest, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Back to Ovechkin. It's just really cool seeing what he's doing, and I think he has officially passed the torch to Austin Matthews as the best goal scorer in the NHL. I believe with a good bill of health that Matthews could challenge Ovechkin/Gretzky's goal record all time if he keeps up the pace that he's currently on. I mean, this is his second 60-goal season. If he stacks up a couple more 60s, he'll be well over 600 in no time. He's already close to 400, and he's been in the league for how many years? Let's say he gets 3 more 60 burgers, another 50 burger maybe, and then a couple 40s. He's right there. Ovechkin never scored more than 65. Matthews already has a better single season than Ovechkin ever had. And yesterday he scored his 66th goal. The Maple Leafs have 4 more games. Does he get 4 more goals in those 4 games, Frank?
1 week ago on this podcast, he had 62 goals with 8 games remaining. Today we sit here, and Austin Matthews has gone goal per game since last Wednesday and is 4 goals away from 70. 4 games to go. We're inches away from witnessing something historic. He's already making history, like you said. He broke Alex Ovechkin's 65-goal record in the salary cap era, and he now holds the new record in the salary cap era with 66. Mario Lemieux holds the record for the most goals in the past 30 years at 69 goals, which he did in 1995-1996.
Nice.
And it hasn't been since 1992 that we had a 70-goal player in the NHL. I think right now this is the biggest storyline in the NHL. And while it might have seemed a bit improbable, 8 or 4 games ago when he needed 8 goals in 8 games, ladies and gentlemen, this is Austin Matthews. Nothing's off the table for number 34. So I'll propose the question to you again as well. Does he reach 70? I think he does. I thought he had the chance last week when he needed 8 and 8, and why we had the argument why he would win the Hart if he got 70 goals, because I thought it was actually probable that it would happen. Like, to think that he can't do that, and I know there's some doubters out there still, but if there's a guy to do it, it's him. I mean, he finds ways to score. He's right on pace as expected. And I wouldn't be surprised if he threw a 2-bomb in there somewhere over the next 4 games. So he might not need to go goal every game if he scores 2. He could, not. The only thing I worry about, but I don't think the Maple Leafs will do it, is rest him in the final game if they have it locked up.
Not if he has 69 goals.
But I agree with you. I agree with you, but you do put records to the side when you have to worry about resting and trying to win a cup. Like, that does come first.
You should, but they won't.
And what if they didn't and he was out for the postseason because of bad injury? Then you look like an asshole.
Yep.
Then you look like an asshole that you put the record first. I would never sit my player. I would never sit my player, but at the end of the day, it comes down to doing what's right for the team. But that would be shitty if they did that.
They have the Devils. One more against them tomorrow. The Red Wings. Patrick Kane and the Red Wings on Saturday. Tuesday against the Panthers. And next Wednesday against the Lightning. I could see them going 2-2, Devils, Red Wings, and then resting in Florida. Because both of those games are in Florida. They have 2 more home games, New Jersey and Detroit, and then they take a trip to Sunrise in Tampa Bay to end the season. The Devils shut him down yesterday. Jack Hughes is out of the lineup, which you could tell how much it impacts the offense, because you figure if you add up all the time in a whole entire 60-minute game that Jack Hughes has the puck on his stick, it's probably like a total of 2 minutes and 50 seconds, 3 minutes. And that's a lot of time to take out of the lineup from one player. But they put their focus. Nico Hischier scored a breakaway goal because of a sick pass by Dawson Mercer. But for the most part, his job on home ice was just to stop Austin Matthews. And he mostly did. And then late in the third, or midway through the third period, Matthews just took a random shot from like 100 feet out. Not literally 100. I'm exaggerating, but it went in. It just beat Jake Allen. That's how powerful this man's shot is. And so in a game where he didn't even particularly play all that well, because the Devils they lost the game, but they did a good job shutting down Matthews. I really do believe that for the most part. He was less of a threat than he normally is. And he still got one. And so tomorrow night in Toronto, I'm fully expecting Pablo to freaking go off. I wouldn't be surprised if he scored a hat trick against the Jack Hughes-less Devils. Because I do think having a transcendent centerman like that out of your lineup does impact your puck possession and all those sorts of things. There are other guys in his role that wouldn't have otherwise been in that role. It's going to – I'm almost rooting for it. Like, the Devils were mathematically eliminated yesterday. We'll get to that. I think there's a world where Matthews does this. And then it gets to the great debate. And Frank, last week, me and you kind of had a nice discussion about it, about what is more MVP worthy between 70 assists and then the great Connor McDavid having 100 points or 100 assists, excuse me. Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers, I believe he is scheduled to play. He was missing from practice yesterday.
Decision.
He was a game-time decision, exactly. I'm sure TNT's begging for him to play because they would love for him to get that 100th assist on their air.
You know what I like about Austin Matthews? He's only got 2 months. He's only got 2 empty net goals this season.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. And the 2 all-time The two all-time leading empty net goals in NHL history are Alexander Ovechkin and Wayne Gretzky. So Matty better start getting those empty net goals up if he wants to actually. No, I'm totally kidding. I don't know. But McDusty, did you hear what I said about Moncada though?
That he's out for 6 months.
3 to 6 months.
That's crazy. That's rough.
That's Robert, Moncada, and Jimenez all out now. That's awesome. This is great.
They're
going to be
bad.
the worst. They're going to be the worst team in MLB history. Let's go. That's honestly making me like them more, though. Honestly, it'll be more fun to just be that bad. Because if you're like just bad, then it's like, okay. But when you're when you're fun bad, this is going to be a good time. But Matt McDavid, if he plays, he'll likely get the 100th assist tonight. I think he could get his 1 assist blindfolded. Frank, we had a good discussion last week, and I know what you think my opinion is on between McDavid's assist and Matthews' goals. I think I teeter-tottered. No, I flipped and then I flipped back. Frank, in life, I've learned never to just die on a hill because you'll end up looking stupid down. Like I can't bring myself to do that.
It's fine.
No, I don't mind. I don't mind flip-flopping sometimes, like because I like to critically think about things. And last week, at first glance, I was like, Austin Matthews, 70 goals, hasn't been done in 30 years. That would be MVP worthy. Connor McDavid, 100 assists. That hasn't been done in a billion years. MVP worthy. What's more impressive? I have gone back and forth about this. I sit there in bed and think about it. And because I honestly think there's no right answer. I wish it was like baseball, where the Eastern Conference got an MVP and the Western Conference got an MVP. Similarly to MLB, where there's a National League MVP and an American League MVP. And there's a lot less fighting that goes on. Because you can argue the Nate Dogg, who has 50-plus goals and is close to 100 assists. He's kind of just the jack of all trades, but master of none this season. He's not leading in goals or assists, but he's right there for the lead in points. And he was just marvelous yesterday against the Wild. It's probably the best. I think it's the best game that Nate Dogg played all season long. Personal opinion. At least best I've watched. I've watched a lot of the Avalanche this year. Top 10 most watched team of mine. I can't form an argument that I don't go, because Austin Matthews is going, if he gets 70, he will be the 9th player in NHL history to reach 70 goals. 2 of the guys that have done it aren't even in the Hall of Fame. Okay, that's 9th. And the list of guys, it's good players, but it's not the transcendent top 5 all-time players of all time. McDavid, if he gets 100 assists, only Wayne Gretzky, Mario Lemieux, and Bobby Orr have ever done that. And Crosby never did it. Ovechkin never did it. Evgeny Malkin never did it. And the top players of all time have never done it except for those 4. Gretzky did it 11 years in a row. He's a video game. But freaking Mario and Orr only did it once each. And so if you made a Mount Rushmore of hockey players all time, those 3 would be on it. You could debate the 4th probably. Some people, I would say Crosby. Some people would say, Gordie Howe, I think has a valid case. There are probably people that may think Jaromir Jagr or Mark Messier or even Alexander Ovechkin. If you're the all-time goals leader, the goal in hockey is to score goals, why wouldn't he be on there? But I can't decide in my head what would deserve the MVP more because of that. It's the guys who did it. It's not that there's 4 who did the assists and 8 who did the goals. It's literally the guys we hold to the highest standards are the only ones that ever did that. And I can't get out of my head this argument. And I almost want to just say, screw both of you and give it to McDavid or McKinnon. I'm being dead serious. There are 5 guys that could win the Hart Trophy, and none of them are Panarin or Pasternak, who both deserve it as well. They're not even in the conversation, and they both are absolutely could win it any other year, and they're not one of the 5 that I believe have a chance at it. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I get what you're saying, VP, on how impressive 100 assists are, right? But like I said last week, there's just so much weight in putting in the work to score 70 goals. It is just that much more impressive. And then I had to put my theory to the test because, for one, if it wasn't for you, I would have never knew, like, oh, McDavid's going to have 100 assists. Like, I haven't seen that storyline anywhere, and all I've been seeing is everybody talking about Matthews. So I had to put my theory to the test. Somebody who doesn't watch hockey every single day like we do. When I was at Joey's place, I asked Sarah, I said, Sarah, I got to ask you a question. If I told you that McDavid was on the brink of 100 assists, what would you say? She just stared at me like, okay. I go, yeah, it's 100 assists. He's on the brink of getting 100 assists. It's like, but he's the best player. I'm like, yeah, I get that. So, right. But if I tell you Austin Matthews is on the brink of scoring 70 goals, she goes, that's a lot of goals. Exactly. That's a lot of goals. Like, you don't even flinch at the fact that McDavid's got 100 assists. But when I tell you Austin Matthews got 70 goals, she's like, that's a lot of goals. I'm like, all right. You agree, right? Like, that's when you tell it to just the average person, like, what's more impressive in a season? 70 goals in it hasn't been done in 32 years. I would say 100 assists, still impressive. It is still impressive. It is McDavid, though. And when you got a guy like McDavid, it just doesn't hit different. Like, Wayne Gretzky had 100 assists so many different years. Doesn't hit different that Gretzky even did it.
Why is it Matthews held to that same standard, though?
Because he's not the best player in the league.
But he's the best goal scorer, and we're talking about him scoring goals.
Right.
He is.
But goals.
I think if you take like, we'll see if injuries and consistency allow Matthews to get close even to Ovechkin and Howe and Gretzky. You know, the 800 club. We'll see if future factors, staying healthy, staying in line off the ice, injuries, consistently playing to a highly. But I believe even if he doesn't do that, his best 5 years line up with Ovechkin's best 5 years.
That's fair.
I mean, he will go to. I think if he retired today, he would have a chance at the Hall of Fame. Maybe one more season.
But goals are more you putting in the work. You have to make that happen. McDavid could pass the puck back in his defensive zone, go off for a change, and still get an assist, which I'm sure he's got a handful of assists like that today, where he really wasn't in the play, but he got the point. So to me, even though assists are goals and the puck still ends up in the net one way or the other, goals scoring 70, you're doing that more of your own power. It's showing more of your athletic ability that you have to be the one to do it. That's just my logic in it. Like, yeah, 100 assists is great. And like I said, it'd be a lot different if, McDavid had like 40, 45 goals and he's got 100 assists. Now it's like, yeah, you're going to win the MVP. But his production in goals this year has just been so low for McDavid. And it's just something that I think, when the votes come in, it's just something you expect. I don't think anybody was expecting Matthews to score 70 this year. Not that I'm saying people expected McDavid to get 100 assists, but it's just something you kind of expect out of a guy of McDavid's nature.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Hold on.
I get it. And like I said, Matthews probably doesn't get it if he doesn't score 70, but it's a realistic conversation we have to have now because it's very possible.
I don't know, dude. Because they are both so good at their, like, what they do. Connor McDavid leads the NHL in primary assists. He has 60. Nikita Kucherov has 54. The Nate Dogg has 48. So McDavid has 39 secondary assists. But so they call them primary points, where you add primary assist to goals. And so McDavid has 91 primary points. That is
great.
Right there with Kucherov. And actually, I think, yeah.
Just out of curiosity, how much does Matthews have? Obviously, it's not going to be as much, but it's still going to be good.
Or primary
how many
assists?
primary points? Primary points.
Oh, primary points. Let's see. He has what 65 plus 24, 91?
No, 65 plus 24 is 89.
No, 89.
So he's 2
89.
less. He's 2 less than McDavid, but he's got the goals to show for it. That's where it's
Yep.
like that's
But
where it's like
we've here's the only thing. Listen, I agree with almost everything you said. The only thing I don't agree, I don't think McDavid gets many of those assists where he's sitting on the bench by the time he collects it.
no,
He's the
I'm
type
not
of guy. He's the type of guy who makes secondary assists. We've
right.
had that conversation,
Yeah.
like where
No,
there
I
are
get it. I
secondary
get it.
assists that like are necessary. I think most of those for McDavid. Do you think Zach Hyman would have 52 tucks if he were on another team?
I do not.
Why?
I just think the team if he went to the Hawks, he wouldn't have 52 tucks. If he went to it depends on the team. If he goes to
Is there
Colorado, he could. He
is there
could.
one player in particular that is on Zach Hyman's line that
I
you
get
think
that. I get that.
enhances? And listen, I'm not taking anything away from Zach Hyman.
No,
There's a reason he's the first 50 goal scorer on McDavid's wing.
right.
Nobody's done it yet. Like that's all
Listen,
him.
I get that. And that's great for McDavid, but and it's something we talk about too. Like he's won it before. You factor that in, and I know Matthews has won it before too. But I think if you put out a poll, I'd love to see a poll from the fans, like which one's more impressive. I just think it leans towards the goals
I'll make a poll. I'll make a poll.
because
We'll get a poll going.
I just think it is like it's just I don't know. It's not enough
Dude.
people are talking about it.
I am perplexed by this argument. I don't have I told you, I'm playing devil's advocate a lot of the time when I sound like I'm disagreeing with you. I'm not. I think right now. So I told you I was leaning McDavid last episode, but then I was thinking 70 goals. Goals are the most important thing in the NHL. You score 70, like you're the MVP. You scored 70 goals, you got to be the MVP. And then I'm listening to Chicklets and Whitney's talking about how only three other guys have ever done it. And they're the three greatest hockey players who ever lived. Like there's a reason they're the only three that have ever done it. And I'm like, that's a very good point. And creating goals is just as impressive as scoring the goals. And then I was McDavid. And then I was thinking about it again. And I was like, this dude's really going to score 70 in today's era. The last time guys scored 70, they were wearing newspapers for pads. Like, this time around you're scoring 70 and you roll through the Islanders and you got Ilya Sorokin. You roll through the Rangers and you got Igor Shesterkin. You're playing against some of the best goalies in the world. You're on the Leafs. You have both players have great players surrounding them. And that leads into the other argument. I wrote down the Nate Dogg and Kucherov. We can just lump them into the conversation. There's one guy we have not mentioned in the Hart Trophy race, and I think he has a chance to win it. I really do. There are 5 guys that have a chance to win it. The 4 already. Sidney Crosby. Sidney Crosby, if the Penguins get into the playoffs, has just as good of a chance to win the Hart Trophy, in my opinion. Now, I don't think he's going to. I would rank him 3rd, though. This guy has 86 points. He'll break 90, which is 50 points less than the top 3. I get that. But the definition of the Hart Trophy is the most valuable player to his team. I actually think what Thomas Gage said about Kane with the Red Wings, I feel that way. I actually feel that way about Sidney Crosby with the Penguins. I think they would be dust muffins if they didn't have Sidney Crosby on the team, and he might drag them into the playoffs. And if they get in, he has to be just as much of a consideration as when Taylor Hall won. Taylor Hall wasn't the leading scorer when he won the Hart Trophy. He had 93 points. He wasn't one of the 100-point guys, but he dragged the Devils into the playoffs that season. The next leading scorer on the team was rookie Nico Hischier with 52 points. This time around, Sydney's doing the same thing. I don't even think there's another Penguin in the top 20. No, there's not another Penguin in the top 25. I mean, it's just crazy to me what Sydney's doing, and I don't know. The fact that we're talking about him in a year where a guy might have 70 goals and 100 assists. I've always wanted to vote for the Hart Trophy. My goal is to one day vote for the Hart Trophy. I don't know who I would write down this year. I don't know what order I would write them down. I think those will be your top 5. Those will be your top 5.
Probably. Listen, and Nathan McKinnon and Nikita Kucherov, just last week when we were talking about them, they were battling for the most points in the NHL. So it goes to show
Mhm.
you how much can change in just the span of a week, which is usually 3 to 4 games, sometimes only 2 games. But during the last 4 games, Nikita Kucherov has had 4 consecutive 3-point games.
Mhm.
I mean, he must have heard us talking shit because last week I said he'd be 4 of 4, 4 of the 4. Like, when you compare him to the other players, like, you can't blame us for what we said, but now you could argue I'd put McKinnon 4th right now, honestly. We lost VP. I don't know where VP went. Um, I kind of want him to hear my argument here, but right now I would have Kucherov 4th. I wanted to hear.
Do you want to know how dumb I am?
Did you click the X?
No, I went to type. I normally have like another browser
Oh,
to like
yeah,
tweet
yeah.
while um doing the show, and I typed it in on this search engine. What a freaking moron I am! I want to know power play points.
So what I was saying, because I don't want to forget,
Yeah.
is I'd have McKinnon 4th now, right? We can argue that because McDavid's on the brink of 100 assists, Matthews on the brink of 70 goals. I'll even hear an argument at this moment in time, if everything were to stay the same, that Kucherov should win the Hart Trophy. Obviously, if none of the other things happen. Like Nathan McKinnon, he's been playing great. And it's crazy for me to say that his production lately is not going to cut it because he's got 6 points in 3 games. So, like, what kind of sick world do we live in where 6 points in his last 3 games is not cutting it? Like, his point streak at home came to an end, which sucks, which is going to hurt him a little bit. But moral of the story here is that we have some of the greatest athletes of hockey right now and 3 players of over 130 points. But it's just crazy to me. Like, I would say McKinnon's production lately is not going to cut it. He'd be 4th if I had to vote right now. Kucherov's just been unbelievable. And at one point a few weeks ago, he was my pick to win it. And now he's dead last for me.
I I'm not going to argue with that. I would put Kucherov. You said Kucherov last.
No, Kucherov ahead of McKinnon. I put McKinnon last. Kucherov's have gone 3 points in every one of his games from our last show. 4 straight games with 3 points. He's been
Yeah,
unbelievable.
he has been unbelievable. I'm not here to argue that. How many power play goals do you think Matthews has out of
Ooh,
his
probably a
66
lot.
goals?
I'd probably say 36.
I'm as equally as stunned as you will be to realize that he only has 17 power play goals.
Holy shit.
He's not
Are you
even like
serious?
near the top. Yeah.
It's even more impressive, kind of.
Sam Reinhart has 27, which the power play is part of hockey. That's special teams is key sometimes. Um, I would rank Kucherov last out of the 5.
I was like that. I was the same way. But what Kucherov's done lately is just unbelievable.
It is. He's getting a lot of power play points, and I'm not taking that away. I'm not. It's just you kind of have to nitpick when you're picking between these guys. I do think that's the case. You have to nitpick a little bit, and like what'll keep Crosby from winning it might be the fact that he's not going to have 100 points. Even though the definition of the Hart Trophy is the most valuable player to his team. If Matthews gets 69 goals, really, what's the actual difference between 69 goals and 70? I'm sure he hit the post a couple times this season. um, but I do think if he gets on 69, he's not even nominated. Like,
What, Matthews?
yeah. Like, if McDavid misses the next 2 games and then doesn't get an assist in the last game, and he's on 99 assists, I'm thinking, does he even get nominated? Like, it's so nitpicky this year. Right now, if I think I just talked my looking through some of these stats and having this conversation with you, I do think I just came up with my ballot as we stand going into the games tonight. I think I would vote Poppy to win it. I would vote the Nate Dogg number 2, and I would vote Sidney Crosby number 3.
Wow.
and then McKinnon fourth, Crosby fifth. And you can only write 5 names on the ballot, but Panarin would be
You mean Kucherov fifth?
yeah.
You
What
said
did I say?
Crosby third. You said Crosby fifth too.
Yeah, Crosby third.
Third.
Yeah, McDavid fourth, Kucherov fifth. You can only write 5 names down on the ballot if you're voting. Um, but all the names come out in order, and there'll be like 10 on the list at the end of the season. I think Panarin will be sixth, and Pasternak will be seventh, and then it'll go wild and crazy. Guys given a hometown guy, like there'll be people in Minnesota who throw Kaprizov a fifth place vote. And it's fair. I think it's cool that writers do that for their hometown guys. Because you could get paid if you get an MVP vote. There are some players with those incentives in their contracts. I just it is shaping up with all of this debate between Ovechkin having 30 and a remarkable second half, and Poppy coming close to 70, and McDusty having 100 assists, but none of them are the leading scorers with Kucherov and McKinnon. Crosby's doing what he's doing with the Penguins at 36 years old. It might be the greatest regular season of all time.
I'm not just saying this to say this. I swear I'm not. But if Matthews got 70 goals, I can't see a world where he doesn't win it. Like I would sit there, and if McDavid won, I'd be dumbfounded. Honestly, I would sit there with my jaw on the floor. I can't picture a world where Matthew doesn't win it if he gets 70. Like honestly, I
Where
would
do
put
you
it at
stand
like
on this?
100%. I would put McDavid as a 0% chance. Honestly, if
Well,
I like, I don't even
right
know. Like, huh?
right now, assume Matthews does 70 and McDavid gets 100 assists. What would your Hart Trophy ballot be? I gave you mine.
You want me to go top 5?
Yeah, because you get
I
5
would
votes. And I'm assuming you agree with me that Pasternak and Panarin would be
probably, yeah.
6 and 7, which is crazy.
I'd go Matthews 1, McDavid 2, Kucherov 3, McKinnon 4, Crosby 5.
Interesting. There's no wrong answer.
If everything stays the same as it is right now, 66 goals for Matthew,
Mm-hmm.
99 assists for McDavid, I would hear an argument that Kucherov wins it.
Fair. Where do you stand on? Okay, McDavid's going to get 100 assists. He's
Yeah.
not going to sit on 99.
No.
That is a guarantee, I think. Matthews has some work to do. Even when McDavid gets that 100th assist, let's say Poppy doesn't get to 70 goals though.
What does he stay at? 66 or
Is
does he get?
no 67, 68. He'll score one more goal, I think, at least. Is there a sense of, human beings vote for this thing, right? It's not computers. There are biases that exist in the world of written media, and it's writers that vote for this thing. Is there a sense of McKinnon is the only one in our collective top 5? I think we agree on the top 5. McKinnon's the only one that never won in the past. Kucherov, McDavid, Matthews, and Crosby have all won the Hart Trophy before. Would you be okay with that being a logic if Matthews doesn't reach 70 goals?
I don't like to hand out participation medals just because.
But
He
you're
deserves
really
it.
not, though, because
He
he has
deserves it.
140 plus points. That's not a hard. It's hardly a participation award, but it
I
is
get
like when
that.
Drew Doughty won the Norris Trophy. Duncan Keith had one, and Shea Weber had one, and Brent Burns had one. All right, Drew Doughty. It's kind of a close race this year. Let's just give it to Drew Doughty. He never won one before. He's
I
gonna be in
get
the
it.
Hall of Fame.
I get it, but then you're kind of undermining like everybody else and how great they are. Like, because McDavid is going to get that 100th assist. So then, in that case, I would have to rank him higher than. I'd have to rank McDavid higher than McKinnon. And like I said, I just think the way it's been lately, I have McKinnon under Kucherov because Kucherov's been lights out. Like
Not
what Kucherov?
Sid.
Huh?
What about Sid? Is he just 0% chance? Because the
Mm,
definition of the Hart Trophy is the most valuable player to his team.
which he is the most valuable player to the Penguins. But I just think production in this crazy season has been unbelievable. Where
Mhm.
I would say he doesn't have a chance to win it.
Yeah.
It's
Even though
unfortunate
I
that it's
think
happening this year.
he is the most deserving of the award based on the definition of the award.
Yeah,
I do think that is fair to say. And I
100%. But
think
you can say that about a lot of teams,
it's fair to
right?
assume though that the writers this year are just going to say don't care what the definition of the award is. No, I don't think there's another player in the league more valuable to their team this season than Crosby. I think
That's fair.
Edmonton without McDavid is still okay. Um, certainly not a cup contender, but Leon Draisaitl is going to have 100 points. I think he already does.
Yeah, he does.
Um, they have Bouchard, who's really, really good. Evander Kane, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Hyman. Hyman wouldn't have 50, but he's still a very good player. McKinnon. They have the greatest defenseman who ever lived, maybe. And Rantanen's got over 100 points. And now all these guys work well together. They feed off each other. But, the Avalanche would probably still be a wagon. Lettinen is really good. And Nichushkin's awesome when he's healthy and on the ice. Kucherov, Point, Stamkos, Hedman. Kucherov's probably the closest, though, to Crosby in the actual definition of the award, most valuable player to his team, because I do think he is like 50 points higher than the second leading scorer on the team. But man, this is the only award we could have an hour conversation on, because I think the Vezna's locked up. Connor Hellebuck's going to win the Vezina Trophy. The only one that kind of has a debate right now, because Bedard's got the Calder, Faber's going to come in second, and then you could flip a coin on Luke Hughes or Kochetkov being the third guy. The other will be the fourth. Did I say Jack Adams? I'll hear arguments for like 3 or 4 guys. Torts is out because the Flyers ain't making it. I think it's either Tocchet, Carberry in Washington, and there was another guy I had in mind. Maybe Montgomery. Laviolette got to be in the mix. There's a couple guys in the mix for that, but nobody really cares about Coach of the Year like they do the player awards. The Norris Trophy. That could go between one of 3 guys. Quinn Hughes has the most points. Cale Makar has the most points per game. Yossi has the most goals. It's one of those 3. It could go either absolutely way. I have a bias towards Quinn Hughes, but I think Cale Makar is the actual best. But the Hart Trophy, man, it's never been closer, and I don't think ever.
Yeah, no, and they're not going to give it to Yossi because if they didn't give it to him that one year, was it last year or 2 years ago? They're never going to give it to him because that's when he deserved it, and it's like you screwed him.
Yeah,
It'll
he'll be
probably go to
nominated.
Quinn. Quinn will be my pick.
It'll be Quinn, Makar, Yossi, I think my vote right now. And if you
Mhm.
get 5, I think I would let me see. I think I would go it would be Quinn, Makar, Yossi would be the top 3. I think I would give Adam Fox. I think I would vote for him 4th, and then I would have to do a heavy debate in my head between Victor Hedman and Evan Bouchard for my 5th guy. Those guys are sick. But I mean, we'll probably have a little more. No, we won't have any clarity on the Hart Trophy because I think even after the season's over, we'll be able to debate it amongst ourselves, and we'll just see who in the media agrees with us. But it's a fun conversation. I do think this is the greatest regular season in NHL history.
Could be. It's
I
crazy.
can't think of a year that was more entertaining with multiple guys being this close to the Hart Trophy, multiple teams being in a position to possibly win the President's Trophy this late in the year. The bubble and the Eastern Conference this year, including like 5 teams up until yesterday, was crazy. Sid and Ovi doing what they're doing this late in their careers. It's so sick. Like the league is just unreal. I think we could have, and there are going to be older people that don't like this, and like that's fine. But McDavid and Makar might be the 2 best at their positions of all time. We'll see what they reach points wise, but like it's hard to argue that Bobby Orr and Cale Makar aren't like equal in terms of the talent they bring to the ice. And then same thing with Wayne Gretzky and Connor McDavid.
Mhm.
Like it sounds dumb saying that, but like I do think the younger guys deserve their respect that they could be in that conversation.
Mhm.
And man, if McDavid plays tonight, Golden Knights versus Oilers, that's a
Yeah,
treat.
for sure. 100%.
That is a treat. All right, Frank. Let's get into a less fun conversation when we talk about the rest of the NHL news in period number 2. Frank, we don't have this on the sheet, but we learned today a couple things about the.
I cannot hear you. I cannot hear you. Not a sniff, VP. Is it just me or can anybody else hear him? I don't know. I hope it's not me. Could you hear me? Could you hear me? Oh. Well, we're going to talk about something in period 2, but technical difficulties. I don't know if it's on my end or his end, but Paula says I could hear you, but I cannot hear Vinny. Paula says I could hear you, but I cannot hear Vinny. So I think it's on Vinny's end. I cannot hear Vinny. I still cannot hear Vinny. Now no Vinny. Now no Vinny. Yeah, I can't hear him.
How about that?
Whoa!
Can you hear me now?
Holy!
You can hear me.
Yeah, bright and clear. Almost broke the speakers.
Am I too loud?
No, I don't think so.
Somehow when you flipped it to period number 2, it muted me in the settings.
Well, it says, wait, I could see Vinny but cannot hear, but I could hear you.
Yeah, you can hear.
You.
I think
But
she
can
should
they
be able
not
to
hear
hear me. She could be able to hear me now because I turned on our feed on Twitter and I was able to hear you, but not myself. So I assume if you can hear me now, they can as well. Because she said you're both back. So
Okay.
money. It muted me in the settings. So now when we flip to period number 3, I'm going to do a little test there to see if it does it to me again.
Okay.
That's very annoying. But I was in the process of picking up the rest of the story from the Arizona Coyotes. Just give me a sec. I got to find it now because I had it all ready to go. And then I went on a freaking rampage. So I don't know if you know this, Frank. There is a bid for land in Arizona coming up on June 27th. And the minimum bid is 65 and a half big ones. And the Arizona Coyotes owners group or whatever they are, I think the NHL owns the Coyotes right now. Somebody who is in charge is going to place a bid on this land and see if the Coyotes are able to buy this land. If they win the bid, they plan on building a entertainment district there. The Coyotes put all their plans on Twitter and it's all out there for people to see what they plan on it looking like. And you can't just show up. It is an auction where like you put up the thing like for the land, but they're only expecting usually only a handful of people, if not only one person shows up to bids like this.
Right.
But you don't just get it by offering the most money. You can't buy it. Like if I had 70 big ones sitting in the bank, I couldn't go just buy it right now through a bid because I don't have like a full-blown plan. The Arizona Coyotes, though, have a full-blown plan on what would happen with the land. Obviously, they've already shared it on social media. Okay. That's great. They're probably going to win the bid. Who's going to outbid somebody coming from the NHL to keep this team in Arizona, where they would be able to begin construction relatively quickly once they get the funding for it, and they would probably only be at Mullet Arena for one more year. Well, today, breaking news: NHL, Arizona Coyotes, and Smith Entertainment Group have made significant progress towards the framework of an agreement to relocate the Arizona Coyotes to Salt Lake City, Utah.
Oh,
NHL
no.
memo updated governors today. Deal is not done. Many layers, much work to do. This is a plan that has been in the works for a while now. And from David Pagnotta at the fourth period, as I reported last month, Smith's SEG Smith Sports Entertainment Group pitched a $1 billion offer for the Yotes before/around the All-Star break. A lot of balls in the air here, but if the Coyotes move and the Morello Group secures the land anyway, the NHL is likely back in Arizona as an expansion team in 2027-28. Frank, the league will have at least 33 teams by 28 season. I'm firmly in belief that if they transfer the Yotes out of there, an Arizona team comes right back.
But you don't really call them the Coyotes then, right?
I would think maybe.
You call
There are
them the
arguments.
Utah Coyotes?
Oh,
Sounds
no,
weird.
no. I thought you meant the new expansion team. The
No,
new
no, the
expansion
one
team, I think,
the
would
one
have a
in Salt Lake
chance
City.
because the Winnipeg Jets came back
Yeah,
and the Cleveland Browns came back, and they weren't the
one in
same
Salt Lake
franchise.
City.
Yeah, no, they would probably be something related to the Jazz, I would assume, to be honest with you. And that's Smith, that guy that owns that team, the Jazz, who would own the new NHL team. He's the
I
youngest
told you
owner. Go ahead.
that I like this. I wanted it in Salt Lake City.
I do too, but I don't want the Yotes to be the team. I want them to get an expansion team. I want Salt Lake City and Atlanta. Those will be the two cities that get teams next. But I want expansion. I don't want relocation. I think the Arizona Coyotes deserve to stay. There's a rabid fan. It's not huge, but the people that care about the Yotes care about the Yotes. I strongly believe that. Austin Matthews is a product of the Yotes existing.
Mhm.
I want more people to enjoy hockey the way I do. But this Smith, Arthur Smith, Arthur, I forget his first name. They do a good job with the Jazz. He's the youngest owner in the Big Four. He's been on the Pat McAfee show a bunch of times, and I've watched him. He's real smart, real good dude. I'd be cool with him being in the NHL. That would be awesome. But I don't want the Yotes to move. I hope this doesn't go through, this relocation, and then bringing another team to Arizona in 3 years. Hopefully they let them win this bid, get the building up, play at Mullet one more year, and get this thing done. Then expand to Salt Lake City in 2027-28. But I do believe in 27-28 there will be a 33rd team regardless, if not 34. But
in the Western Conference.
Yeah, they would be in the Western Conference.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Atlanta team would be in the East.
Mm-hmm.
The Eastern Conference hasn't added a team in a long time. They need to get this done the right way. The Yotes are on the come up. If I were Mr. Smith, I would want the Yotes because I think the Yotes right now have a better future than what an expansion team would. Vegas is an anomaly. People make expansion seem easy because of what Vegas did. Vegas is a joke. They have a proactive owner that's obsessed with winning and a GM that's not afraid to do whatever it takes to be in the winning situation. The Kraken had a nice run last year. It was cool seeing them make the playoffs and win a round, but they are by no means Vegas. Not even close. I think the Coyotes, with Cooley and Keller. I mean, Keller's one of the best players in the NHL. And Logan Cooley's one of the best young players, rookies in the NHL. He won't be nominated for the Calder, but his name will appear on that top 10 list. There'll be people in Arizona and California and Minnesota that throw him a fifth place Calder vote. So he'll probably come in like 7th or 8th. But they got a bright future. I like the Yotes, and they've been good lately. They beat some strong teams. And it's only going to get better. So, yeah, if I were the Utah team, I would want the Yotes instead of an expansion team. But personally, I don't want that to happen. I want Utah to have to suffer through like the rest of us. Only those a-holes in Vegas don't ever have to suffer. What's your take on the whole thing?
I'm excited to have a team in Salt Lake City because I think the Jazz are a fun organization. So I think bringing that to the NHL would be a lot of fun as well. So I'm looking forward to it. I love expansion teams. I love trying to figure out what the colors will be, what the team name will be, what the goal horn will sound like. So I'm all for it. And yeah, I don't want to relocate instead of expand, but I have a feeling that's the direction that this is all going.
Very fair. Very fair. I I just want people to like hockey. And so if having a team in Arizona and Salt Lake City helps get us to that goal, helps the US win a gold medal one day maybe in the Olympics again, I'm all here for it. All right, Frank, we move on. Jack Hughes, he's out for the season. Means he's out for
Mm-hmm.
4 games. But he is expected to be ready for the start of training camp after having sold the shoulder surgery today. What are your thoughts?
Jack Hughes, great season so far. 27 goals, 74 points. That's great for Hughes, especially coming off a 99-point season the year before. There's nothing wrong with that. Hughes was very injured this year. He missed 5 games in November, 11 games from January to February, and he still managed to get 74 points this season. So he's kind of similar in Bedard in a sense where what would have happened if he was healthy for the entire season? We're talking about a potential 90-plus point season for Jack, probably. So it's unfortunate that his season has to come to an end with this shoulder surgery. But if you're looking for light in every negative situation, the Devils were not going anywhere this year. And it is said, it's said that he will be ready for training camp, which is great. But it just wasn't the Devils' year. Things did not go their way. This just adds to the trend that nothing really went right for the team this year. But I expect the Devils to rebound next year and really kick things into overdrive. So they just really need to address the goaltending issues going forward. But this isn't the worst news possible, obviously. Give them a little extra rest. I think they're going to come back strong next year. I really do. So it just nothing was going right their way this year. And this kind of puts the cherry on top of that. And I think Jack Hughes will be back stronger than ever. I do think we'll see a 90-goal point season from him potentially next year. So we'll see what that entails for him in the future. But yeah,
He
try to
had
find the
90,
light in the situation.
absolutely. He had 99 points last year. He's on pace for 100 right now.
Yep.
With a full 82 game season. So he's a
Yep.
100-point player. A down year is like in the low 90s. So in a really good year, I think will be 110, 120 points for him. I really do. He's only 22 or 23. He's 22. People forget that because he's been around. When you come in the league at 18, by the time you're like when Bedard's 22, it's going to feel like he's been in the league forever, and he's not even going to be done fully developing yet. I don't think you're really fully developed until you're 25, 26 years old if you're one of those like star boys. And Jack Hughes will get there. It was a good season when he was on the ice. I also think he didn't play up to his potential in the second half because of his shoulder injury. And so how much even better would he have been if he was healthy for the full season like last year? The impact that you can make getting secondary assists on the power play is nice and all, but last year he had a lot of primary points. He was one of the primary point leaders in the NHL. And I think that's what he needs to get to with this shoulder surgery. Hopefully everything turns out okay because the Devils need him. I think he's one of the best players in the NHL when he's healthy. I think that's been proven already. But, you nailed it. Everything that could go wrong this season did. They have Heischer. He was out for a little bit, but he's going to have a 70-plus point season again probably. It hasn't been or really high 60s, but it can be better. They need to get Dougie Hamilton healthy. They've been missing him since November. And they need to shore up the goaltending. Jake Allen could probably be a real good backup next year. If they had a Markstrom-Allen duo, I would like the Devils' chances next season just as much as anybody. But like you said, everything that could go wrong will go wrong. They're the only team in the NHL that has not lost more than 3 in a row and has not won more than 3 in a row.
That's
so
tough.
I'm hoping that they end the season with 82 points, which means they got half of the possible points you can get in an NHL season. Because they haven't won more than 3 in a row or lost more than 3 in a row. If they end with 82 points, with that being their stat, they will end as arguably the most average team in the history of the NHL.
Yeah, they are
And
right now.
that
37-37.
they need 3 more points to be the most average team in NHL history. And even if they're 81 points, 83 points, 79 points like they're at right now, they are just the most average team in NHL history, and that's with Hughes missing a billion games and Heischer missing 10. Bad goaltending. You fired the coach. But I like what they have long term. Jack Hughes and Nico
Yeah.
Heischer can be top 2 centers on a cup winning team. I believe that. Dawson Mercer scored 20 every goal every year of his career so far. This was year number 3. He got 20 yesterday. Alexander Holtz is on the rise. I think Nemitz has been outstanding. Luke Hughes has been outstanding. You have Seamus Casey on the way. He could sign his contract maybe tomorrow. I doubt it. But depending on what Michigan does,
Mhm.
it's just been a hard year for them. It's hard for me to say it's the greatest NHL season of all time because of how bad they've been. But when I say that, it's just from a pure hockey point of view. But I mean, they were never terrible either. That's the thing. Like they have no shot at I think they have, of all the teams that have a possible chance at Celebrini, they have the lowest odds because not every playoff team has a chance
Right.
anymore. But they do. But it's like 3% or whatever. But so honestly, just lose to the Maple Leafs tomorrow. Let Poppy score 5 goals. Maybe get lucky. Wouldn't that be funny? If you're running out Hughes, Heischer, and Celebrini next year, how funny would that be? That would be funny.
That'd be
That would be
crazy.
real funny. If I spent all year watching Boston University, hoping he could come to the Blackhawks, or being okay with him going to the Sharks, for him to just end up on the Devils would be very, very funny. I don't
Genius.
think I'd stop laughing. Frank, the Flyers are dead.
Oh yeah. 1-6-3 in your last 10 games with the season on the line is the worst possible scenario you could have asked for to end the season. The
I'd
way
rather
the
have the Devil
Flyers
season.
100%. The way the Flyers have played over the past quarter of the season was how they were projected to play really to start the year. Like if you make the playoffs as a rebuilding team, that's one thing, but then missing the playoffs by a couple points and having an 80+ season is going to do them a disservice. I think this team is still a long ways away despite the young guys playing better this year, but a higher draft pick would have done them wonders. Like props to them for never straying away from the plan. It's more than the Flyers being dead at this point. Like this seems like an act of murder, to be honest with you. But you can't afford to collapse that bad and be a bubble team with a rebuilding roster. Like I'd be irate. Like they've had one of the most disappointing seasons of any team, I'd say, just because of the situation they're in. You don't want to rebuild and be a bubble team when you were holding on to a division spot. The like worst case scenario on a platter was served to them.
Knowing like all the stuff with the Devils, would you say you'd rather have the Flyers season or the Devil season over the
Yeah,
Flyers?
yeah,
Knowing the reason why they had the year that they
right,
did.
yeah.
Like I honestly think like you're a moron if you don't think the Devils are gonna like bounce back. If not next year, like in general, Jack Hughes and Nico Heischer will make at least one deep run together. I do believe. Even if it's next year, they still have to work on goaltending and coaching and putting the pieces together as a young team. In the
Mhm.
long term, nobody's worried about the Devils. The Flyers, though.
They could have used a top 5 pick. They could have. They're far from being done rebuilding. Like it's great that they had great production from their young guys this year, but this hurt them. This sets them back a year, I think, honestly.
It might. It really might. Because if you still got the same production from these guys, and still had a top 5 pick, like you're looking at a Celebrini or
Oof.
an Iserman or something like that.
Yeah. When
Uh,
you got
I mean,
Mitchkov coming,
yeah,
but this
yeah,
sets him back. This sets him back. You're talking out of the top 10 potentially,
yeah, for
right?
sure.
Wouldn't it be out of the top 10? I'm pretty
Yes,
sure.
because I think only the top 10, only the bottom 10 teams have a chance at the lottery, and I think the Devils are the 10th right now.
So
Um,
that's tough. That's tough.
it is tough. It is tough. I mean, it is what it is. It was a good season. Now, the goaltending for them did suck in the second half. Losing Carter Hart to the allegations for Team Canada's 2018 World Junior team did hurt them. It hurt the Devils too. Michael McLeod was a matchup nightmare. He won 60% of his faceoffs and scored anywhere from 15 to 20 goals a season, and nobody could score when he was on the ice. Their records since he went out, same thing with the Flyers, bad. So you lose guys like that, it's always going to hurt your team. Obviously, you wouldn't touch them with a 50-foot pole based on the allegations. But, I mean, you lose a starting goaltender for that. Not good.
Yeah.
Not good. And as a result of the Devils and Flyers stinking some butthole, the Pens and Wings are alive. Frank, they're alive. Same thing with the New York Islanders. These three teams are alive. Only out of these three teams plus the Washington Capitals, only two of them have a chance at the playoffs. What do you think?
The Penguins and Red Wings are definitely still in the thick of things. Nedeljkovic has been playing out of his mind, giving the Penguins a fighting chance.
Streaky goaltender.
He's been just unreal lately. If it wasn't for the Red Wings collapse in the month of March, they'd be right there as a favorite to make the postseason. But right now, you got the Islanders holding on to that third spot in the Metro. That spot's still very much up for grabs. That means out of the final two East playoff spots to be determined, it's either going to be awarded to the Islanders, Capitals, Penguins, or the Red Wings. Islanders and Penguins are the two of the hottest teams right now, so all logic would point to those two teams making it. But all honesty, it could go either way right now. Like, things are chaotic. And then on the other hand, right, the Islanders, they're on an absolute heater right now. They've won 5 in a row. Brock Nelson, Matthew Barzal, Bo Horvat, all these guys have been absolutely killing it. And the thing about the Islanders is their offense is so spread out. And sometimes I think that benefits a team more than having one superstar and a bunch of contributors. It happened for UConn. UConn didn't have a top scorer in the world, but all 5 of their starters averaged around the same points, and they were so productive. And that's what's happening with the Islanders right here. And Ilya Sorokin and Semyon Varlamov, they haven't been playing elite this year, but I would not want to face them in the postseason because those are the guys that get hot in the postseason. So it's crazy what's going on in the East right now.
It really is. The Islanders are the most boring of them all. Like, they just are. I think Matthew Barzal is a star. I don't think he's a superstar. I don't know if the Islanders have a superstar, but they win games. Kyle Palmieri's having a wonderful year. Love seeing that for my former guy. Man, Frank, when Kyle Palmieri was on the Devils, he was one of my favorite players in the league. I loved Kyle Palmieri. When he scored, I always put the palm trees on Twitter. Big time fun. But, the Islanders are who they are. Lou built them a certain way. Oh, Bo Horvat is a star too. He's a good player. He's been in an all-star game. Vancouver used the Devils pick for Corey Schneider to draft him, which kind of bugs me. But the Islanders are probably going to get in.
Imagine if the Oilers had Sorokin and Varlamov at their tandem. I don't know. I don't think I would take that tandem, honestly. I like what's going on right now with the Oilers. And Skinner's really – he stepped it up. And I can't think of the backup that I picked up in fantasy last week for the Oilers. What's his name? Oh, my God.
I'm Pickard?
Pickard. He's been fine. You could argue he's been better lately than Stuart Skinner because Pickard's been great lately. So
I would take Sorokin. I would take Sorokin for the long term.
I would too, but if you're talking about a tandem, I think I'd keep the tandem right now the way it is.
Maybe. You don't really use a tandem in the playoffs, though, unless you're the Bees. Joey told me that I've never heard Joey be this blunt about the Bruins before. Normally, it's just all peaches and cream. They're going to win the cup no matter what. He told me that if Jim Montgomery doesn't rotate goalies in the playoffs, he wants him fired. He said he don't care if Allmark gets a shutout in game 1 of the postseason, Swayman game 2.
That's fine because that's what's been working.
Oh, he's listening. He's listening. He's in here.
That's what I
Yeah,
told
but
him. He's always
he
this
only
way.
comments when we talk about football, and he comments football, even though it's not football season. We haven't talked about football in like 3 weeks.
I
Even though
agree, though.
the draft is coming up, and we'll be talking about that next week and the week after. But stay
Like, why are
tuned
we
if you like
straying away
football.
from the plan? That's what they've done all year. Don't change up your strategy. That's what's
I
worked. That's
agree.
what they're used to.
Dude, I don't think that's
But
crazy.
but I'm
They're
but
the
I'm
only team
worried
in the
that
league that could get away with it.
Montgomery's not going to do that because he didn't do it last year.
Yeah, I mean,
And
but
then
they
it's
got
like shit.
bounced.
But they
But
didn't
then
do it in the first round. You started a goalie twice in a row. They're like, shit, we should go to the other goalie. It just messes up your mojo.
then
There's
they
no
got bounced.
reason to, right? But I'm worried that like it's almost like it's a it's an unwritten rule that you can't switch in the playoffs. That's almost like what it
That
feels like.
I know, but then they have to break it.
Yeah, they do.
They absolutely have to break it. I don't love that they're going to have to play Tampa.
Is that like facts?
It's getting there. It's getting there. The Rangers are going to win the President's Trophy and play Detroit or Pittsburgh or the Islanders or whoever comes in the
Yeah,
second
they're
wild
gonna have
card
to
spot.
play Tampa. That's
And
tough.
the only way they don't play Tampa is if the Leafs lose every game the rest of the season and the Lightning win every game the rest of the season, and then the Leafs fall down to the wild card spot, which I guess
That's
is
gonna be
possible.
tough.
But
Tough
the Leafs play the
matchup.
Devils tomorrow, so that's not happening. I think the Bees can beat the Lightning, but I think the Lightning could beat the Bees. So
Flip a coin.
honestly, a game 7 would be part of my prediction. I think if a series like that took place, but I think you have to rotate if you're Montgomery. You just got to do it. It's worked for you, unlike any team I've seen.
They
Really
literally
ever.
rotate every game.
Yeah, I think there was one instance this season where they were both healthy and they went back to the guy who played the game. I think it happened one time.
I think Joey said they each played back to back once.
Oh, let's see how many games each of them have played. I can pull that up really quickly.
I'm pretty sure
Lehman,
Allmark has gone twice back to back. Not back to back days, but back to back games. And Swayman's gone back to back once. I think that's what he said.
yeah, Swayman has played 43 games
Yeah.
and Allmark has played 38, which means I think Allmark missed a game with injury though. There was one game he was a little hurt. I remember. I want to say, were they playing the Kings?
Wait. What'd you say? Somebody's played 43? That
Swayman,
doesn't add up.
because Allmark was hurt. There was
Wait, you said 43 and 38 though?
Yeah. How many does that equal?
That's 82 games.
Yeah.
No, that's 81 games. They haven't played that many games this year.
38 plus.
They've only played 79
Oh,
games.
We're not. That's games played. We're not taking into instance game starts.
Yeah, game starts.
Because if you come in relief, that's a game played. Okay. Swayman has 37, or Allmark has 37 games played. And
Joey says they both have missed time.
they're 42. 42 game starts for Swayman. And 37.
42 game starts.
What's 42 plus 37?
Yeah, 79.
Yeah.
Which is what they played. Yeah, 70. I was like, something's not adding up here.
Yeah. Exactly. And I didn't realize Swayman missed a game or two. It had to have been only a game or two. Same thing with Allmark, obviously. I remember they were worried Allmark's injury would be a little longer than they thought, and it wasn't bad. But yeah, as pointed out by Joey, Florida winning the division is the best chance for the Bruins to not play Tampa. I just don't foresee that happening necessarily.
JP's hoping for it.
He's like, Bees lose every game the rest of the season. Florida's a better team in the regular season this year, but the Bruins have 15 loser points. The Florida Panthers only have 6. Florida has a better.
If Florida won the division.
Yeah, people are going to sleep on the Leafs again, though. I would not do that if I were you.
It's either Toronto or the Lightning.
basically, or catch the Rangers and play Washington, Pittsburgh, or Detroit.
That's their best case scenario, I think, that they'd
Yeah,
want to happen.
that's why not having 1 through 8 is a joke, though.
I wish it was 1 through 8. I really do. I miss that.
Although I have seen this argument all over the place. Oh no. If it were 1 through 8 right now, the Rangers would be
Bruins would,
about to play the Capitals and the Bruins would be about to play the Islanders. So,
no.
yeah.
Bruins would play
Yeah.
the Lightning. 2 would play 7.
7 would be the Islanders.
Yeah, and Bruins are 3rd in the conference. I'm
A
looking
division
at it.
winner. A division winner always had the top seeds, though.
Well, I'm just going by what it says right here. Just looking on the NHL.com, Carolina's 2.
I know they are too, but they're in the Metro, meaning they would be an at-large team, not a division winner. Like when it was 1 through 8, the division winners had the top 3 seeds guaranteed, no matter how many points you had. So, like, there were instances where a 3rd seed could have less points than a 6th seed.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, but there were 3 divisions in each conference back then. There's only 2 now, so they would have to figure that out. But I assume the Bruins would be the 2 seed despite having fewer points than Carolina because they won the Atlantic. That's what
sure?
I'm positive. Because I remember there was a year the Capitals won the Southeast Division, but they had less points than the Atlantic Division.
I'm looking back at past years, and that I never have seen an instance where a team had less points but higher in the standings.
I'm pretty sure when the Devils went to the Cup, Washington was the 3 seed. Yeah, Washington was the 3 seed. And the Bruins...
Was that 2012, 2013? No, that was 2011, 2012.
Okay, look at 2013, though. I'm pretty sure Montreal had more points than some of the teams that were at large or that were division winners.
No.
Because Montreal...
I'm looking at it.
I'm going to have to go. I know that was a rule, though. The division winners
maybe
had
like a long time ago.
No.
Like,
no. Up until the end.
I've never seen it ever.
I promise you that's how it was. Up until the end.
Maybe in the COVID year.
No, Frank, there was no COVID in the last time it was 1 through 8.
No, I know. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm
telling you, there were 6 divisions, 3 in the West, 3 in the East.
I'm just telling you,
the winner of each division, the winner of each division had automatic bids at the top 3 seeds. I'm telling you.
I mean,
I know you're not going to believe me until you read it for yourself.
I'm looking at it. The Capitals won the division with 57 points. They won the Southeast Division with 57 points.
Then that lines up that year where they...
Huh?
But they were what? But they were what?
They're 4th.
I don't remember. I would have to look.
I don't know. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I don't remember that.
Are you sure they won the Southeast Division?
Yeah.
What were the 3 seeds that year?
Penguins, Canadiens, and Bruins.
Penguins, Canadiens, Bruins. In 2012-13?
In 2012-13. Unless I'm reading this wrong. Maybe I'm reading it wrong. Let me look at the playoff matchups that year.
Yeah.
Here, I'll look up who did the Capitals.
So
the Capitals. Well, this doesn't do anything.
The Capitals had less points than the Bruins in 2012-13. But the Bruins were the 4 seed and the Capitals were the 3 seed.
Why does it show it like that then?
I have no idea. But I promise you, the lockout year was
I believe you. I just don't remember it. I don't remember it.
2013 Capitals.
Maybe lockout year was different. Maybe the lockout year was different because there were less games played. Because Because I don't remember that at all. Like, I'm literally looking at all the years.
The Washington Capitals in 2013. Oh,
I
that's 13, 14. The
I think the
Washington
lockout
Capitals
year
in
was
I'm looking at it right now. The Capitals had fewer points than the Bruins, and they were the 3 seed. And so the Washington Capitals, they were the 3 seed, but they won. They finished first in the Southeast Division, 57 points. But the 2012
but was that a
13
lockout thing?
Bruins,
Because remember that year
that
the
it was
lockout
like that. No,
because you only played teams in your conference.
yeah, but the Bruins had 62 points, but they were the 4 seed. So the Capitals got an automatic bid to the 3rd seed as the winner of the Southeast Division, even though they had fewer points than the Bruins. Because you might remember the Bruins and Montreal battled hard that year for the top spot in their division. I forget what it was called. I think it was called the Northeast Division, and then the Devils Division was the Atlantic Division. I think.
See, I
But
don't remember.
here,
I don't remember that. I
I'll
believe
pull
you.
up a non-lockout season.
Go to like the year before.
2011. But Frank, there are a lot of instances though where the 3 division winners did have the 3 most points. That did happen. I'm sure it happened a lot. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
2012 playoffs.
that was a crazy year.
Let's
Hawks
see.
had 101 points and they came in 4th in the division. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking now. The 2012 playoffs. So the 3 seed was Florida, and the 4 seed was Pittsburgh. You're not going to tell me Pittsburgh had less points than Florida in 2012. There's just no shot. 2012, 2011, 2012 Penguins.
I don't remember like that.
They had 108 points. The 2011-12
So
Panthers.
the top 3 seeds or the top 3 division winners, no matter what, got
Yeah.
the
Yeah, it was not a lockout thing because the Panthers were the 3 seed the year before
okay.
and the Penguins were the 4 seed and the Penguins had more points. It was the 3 division winners were the top 3 seeds and then there were 5
Okay, yeah.
at-large teams, 4 through 8.
It's very weirdly filtered here, so I had to filter it by rank. But the
Yeah.
way it was showing up was
Mhm.
not the way you were explaining it.
So
But now it
I assume that if we kept the divisions the same but made it 1 through 8, the Bruins and Rangers would get automatic bids as the top 2 seeds. So the Bruins would play wild card 1, or not wild card 1, the 7th seed, which would
yeah.
be the Islanders
So it is
and the
different.
Rangers. What do you mean? Than what it currently is, their matchup?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it would be
Yeah.
different.
If it were 1 through 8 right now, the Rangers would play Washington, the
Yep.
Bruins would play the Islanders, the Hurricanes would play the Lightning, and this one is going to happen. Panthers would play the Leafs.
hmm
And then in the West, Dallas would play Vegas, which is probably going to happen anyway. Vancouver would play LA, which is probably going to happen anyway. Colorado would play Nashville, which is probably going to happen anyway. No, not true. Colorado's going to play Winnipeg. Colorado would play Nashville. Winnipeg would play Edmonton. So,
I wish they went
complete.
back to it like that.
Yeah, me too. Not even close. Not even close. But yeah, back in the day when it was 1 through 8 and there were 3 divisions, the top 3 division winners had those top seeds. So there were years where the 4th, 5th, and 6th seed could have more points because the Southeast Division, until the Capitals got real good, the Southeast Division always sucked. Tampa was
Mhm.
terrible. The Panthers were terrible. The Hurricanes were terrible. Now those are 5 of the best teams in the East.
Yeah.
But back then they weren't. So, yeah, that's crazy. Yesterday, Frank, Tomas Hertl, or 2 days ago, made his debut with the Vegas Golden Knights.
He
Pretty
did.
good boost there for the Golden Knights, eh?
Much needed boost, actually. He was great. He was very active in his first start. He played over 20 minutes in the game, was all over the place from the power play to even the penalty kill. He had almost 4 minutes of power play time. Wasn't very good on the penalty kill, though. He was on the ice for both the Canucks goals, but he was very good from the faceoff dot, which is good. And I know Bruce Cassidy is going to use that to their advantage, obviously. He did manage to even get a point off a faceoff win and was actually able to help generate some of the highest scoring danger chances in the game. I believe the 3 highest scoring danger chances in the game he was a part of. So, and he did that at even strength, that's great. So it's very clear how much Tomas Hertl will impact the Golden Knights, how much he impacted them in that just one game alone. But we could already just tell from that one game how great he's going to fit in with this team. Good things to come with Vegas.
I know we're going to make playoff predictions when the time is right. Would you pick Dallas to beat Vegas right now?
I would.
You would pick
Dallas is
Dallas?
so hot right now. It's unbelievable. They are sizzling. They haven't. What's their record in their last 10? It's something ridiculous. They're 9-1-0 in their last 10. Talk about going into the playoffs on a heater. And Ottinger's on this dude's cracked out of his mind right now. I think he's given up 2 or less than like a billion of his last starts. I think I would.
I would, but I would tread lightly.
I'm not saying it's a guarantee. It could go 7, but I think at the end of the day, Dallas wins that series.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard. I'm begging for it because I want to see good hockey.
Knights worry me a little bit. Their goaltending, it's been great, but it's been a little flaky lately. They've lost 2 in a row here. Tough game tonight
Yeah.
against the Edmonton Oilers. They worry me a tad.
I get that for sure. We'll see if Hurdle's able to give him a boost. Jesper Wallstedt, one of the top. I think he's the top goalie prospect in the world right now with the Wild. Gets a shutout against the Blackhawks. Do you watch the game? What did you see from him?
I'm not surprised, man. I mean, that was the 13th time the Hawks have been shut out this season, more than any other team in the NHL. Which we have to be nearing an NHL record for most times shut out in a season. I thought I read somewhere it's like 16 times or whatever, but I could be wrong. He played great against the Blackhawks, but I mean, he played the worst he could against the Stars the other night, gave up 7 goals. It's just hard to tell out of a rookie goaltender how good you're going to be after 2 games because you played one of the worst teams in the league and then you played one of the best games in the league. Joey said that shutout crushed my dreams. It did. That's a tough pill to swallow. It's unfortunate that he was playing the Hawks that day because you just the writing's on the wall. The Hawks really they did that earlier in the year too against somebody in their second ever game. He was playing, and there's like 2 wins this year alone came against the Blackhawks. So I mean, it's hard to get a shutout nonetheless in your second career NHL game. Still very impressive, but there's still a lot that we have to see to really get a feel for him because the game before he gives up 7 to the Stars. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do think the Hawks beat the Stars a day prior.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like I don't think the current Hawks are as bad as their record shows anymore because I like what I'm seeing from Reichel ever since being recalled. Bedard is on fire. Athanasiou's healthy. Seth Jones looks like he's playing real well. The Hawks right now are not the Hawks from January when they were real bad, but they didn't have a good game at all. But I thought Soderblom played well, so I don't know. But I still think Wallstedt deserves his flowers, even though it was just the Hawks,
Yeah,
because the Hawks have been
still
playing well
impressive.
lately,
Still
and he's one of the top goalie prospects in the world. I hope Joey doesn't hate him forever, because I do think he'll be an ownable goalie in fantasy for a long time, and maybe he can redeem himself on the Beanhead Bruins one day. But we shall see. All right, Frank. Time we've all been waiting for. The Frozen Four starts tomorrow. You got Boston College taking on Michigan in the first game at 4 o'clock. Then in the second game, you got Macklin Celebrini and the Boston University Terriers against Denver. Real good matchups. Real good matchups. The winner of each game will play each other in the Frozen Four National Championship on Saturday. What do you think is going to happen? I want your entire predictions. Who's going to impact the games? Who should people be watching for? Who will be the national champion?
Okay. Well, I'll start off with Boston University and Denver. Okay, the projected number 1 pick in this year's draft, Macklin Celebrini, will be taking on the highest rated defenseman in this year's draft, Zeev Buem. Okay, Denver's one of those teams like Quinnipiac that you can never count out. Can never take them lightly. They've been one of the most consistent teams of the past handful of years. They won the national championship back in 2022 under Coach David Carl. They have 9 players from that 2022 roster who will bring plenty of championship experience. BU's not going to want to take him lightly, right? However, on the other end, you got Lane Hudson, Macklin Celebrini. I think they're going to get the job done. I'm predicting Boston University to take down Denver. Both Denver's games in this tournament ended 2-1. So on one hand, you've been playing tremendous defense. But on the other hand, you haven't been able to score against UMass and Cornell, which are a major step down than Boston University in terms of talent. So I think BU is going to be too much. I do predict though another 1-goal game. I think BU is going to skate away with the 1-goal game, and instead of Denver winning 2 games by 1 goal, I think it's going to flip the opposite way, and Boston University's going to win a tight one against Denver. On the other hand, we got Boston College and Michigan, right? Boston College is another team that is just too cracked from head to toe. They have 4 of the top 6 scorers in all of college hockey this year. They've also got the top scoring line in college hockey with Ryan Leonard, Will Smith, and Gabe Perreault. Plus, that line doesn't even include Cutter Gauthier. But Michigan, on the other side, they're going to throw out some of their top talent as well. They got Big Ten Player of the Year, Gavin Brindley, Winnipeg Jets first rounder, Rutger McGroarty, and Blackhawks forward, Frank Nazar. But you compare that to the 4 players I named on Boston College, doesn't match up. Boston College is just a different tier of level, and it's just ultimately going to come down to goaltending, I think, as well. I don't think the Michigan's goaltender is going to be able to contain the 4 beasts on Boston College. And I favor Jacob Fowler heavily in that aspect. He's the better of the 2 goalies, probably could contain the other NHL level talent on Michigan a bit more. So with that being said, I'm going to go with Boston College in this one, which means in the national championship, we'd have Boston College versus Boston University. I believe for the 4th time this would be this year. We've analyzed these 2 teams every time they played each other against one another. I believe it's 2-1 in favor of Boston College. I do think Boston College is going to win the national championship. I almost chose Boston University because anything could happen in the final game, but no, got to use logic here. Boston University already got their 1 win. So, I mean, you never know. They have beat them, but I think in this championship game, Boston College is just going to be so dialed in, and I don't think a rabbit's going to be pulled out of the hat in this one. But like I said, Boston University did get a win against them earlier this year, but I'm taking Boston College to win it all against BU.
I love it. I've watched so much of BU and BC this season, and I'm so excited for the Frozen Four. I cannot wait to see how this all goes down. I've been on Boston College all season long. I don't see how they don't beat Michigan. Michigan's real good. Like, I'm happy for them. Or did I say, is it they're playing Michigan or now I'm confused. What did I say?
Boston College is facing Michigan.
Yeah. Okay. I think Will Smith is a superstar. I came into the season thinking Leonard was the 3rd guy on the line. You can argue that a lot of times this year he was driving the line. If Will Smith is on a top line in San Jose next year, I would not be surprised at all. Boston College is just so good, and they've been so fun to watch all season long. I like BU more than BC, I think, usually. Like if I had to pick a school to attend or like buy their jersey, I would pick BU. But this year, I think I like BC more just because they have been that fun to watch. Now, Celebrini is awesome. Lane Hudson is incredible. I think if, regardless of what happens in the Natty, or if they somehow lose on Thursday, I am picking them to beat Denver. I think that's pretty clear. Regardless of what happens, though, I think Montreal's got to get them signed and in a game
Yeah.
next week. I'm going to look up Montreal's schedule. The Montreal Canadiens have, let's see, they have the Islanders tomorrow, so it's not going to be then, and then they have the Senators on Saturday. It won't be then, especially if they're playing in the championship game, BU. But they go to Detroit on Monday, but they host the Red Wings on Tuesday. I would love to see Lane Hudson play in that last game of the season against Detroit in Montreal. I just would love to see it. And he will be in the NHL next season. Montreal is going to be a lot better next season, I think. It's crazy to think that we're getting here. We're here to where some of these guys are going to be making that jump. I've been watching them all season long in college and in the World Juniors, and here we are. This is it, all for all the marbles. And then once the NCAA season is over, we'll start looking at the OHL playoffs and start thinking about the Memorial Cup. A lot of the guys on Team Canada that we watched in the World Juniors will shift our focus there. But college hockey's my favorite, and I'm so excited for a BU-BC national championship if that comes to fruition. Michigan and Denver are going to try to have a lot to say about that. My prediction is that BC gets it done. I picked them to win in my bracket at the start of the tournament, and here we are. I think BC is amazing, and I know BU won. They got their one win. It was in the Bean Pot, which makes me wonder if Boston College wins a lot of their games against BU. I think it's 3-1 in favor of BC this year. But BU won the game where like the whole world was watching at the TD Garden. Well, this is at the XL Energy Center where the Minnesota Wild play, the state of hockey. And, to see a team that talented like BC win in the state of hockey, the national championship on the Minnesota Wild's ice, I'm getting like excited thinking about it. Like that is just so cool for me to think about. I'm pumped. I got BC winning the Natty this year. And then depending on the decisions made by Will Smith, Leonard, Perreault, Gauthier is going to the NHL, but I think there's a chance Smith, Perreault, and Leonard return next year. I do think Perreault moves on to the Anaheim Ducks soon, but that Boston College team could be just as good next year. I'm not saying they'll be Natty favorites, right? Like there are a lot of teams that are going to try and be Natty favorites, and we'll see the draft. But I mean, damn. What were you going to say?
If everything pans out the way it does, and my predictions come true, I'd have a perfect bracket.
Hell yeah, that's right. Good work, Frank. Good work.
I should contact Bucci and be like, hey, all my picks were documented on our video. You've been on our show. Like, do I get a hat or something?
If you could pick a college hockey hat, because he has them in colors for every team, whose would you pick?
I don't know. I'd probably have to go with the national champions.
Okay. His BC hats are sick. They have like the maroon front and then the brim is gold. Oh, I want to get 3. There are 3 I want to have. I want to have.
I don't know.
They're not expensive and the money goes to charity. I want to have BC, BU, and North Dakota. I think I would have to start with North Dakota. It's funny. I shared on Facebook I looked on Facebook yesterday. They have the memories.
Yeah.
9 years ago today or yesterday, I shared about how happy I was that North Dakota beat Quinnipiac in the championship game. And I was like, this was 9 years ago. That's how long I've been into college hockey, but nothing like this year. Last year is what really started me going from like a pretty big fan to like a huge fan. And then this year was a whole new level. But yeah, that was good times.
Overtime challenge coming back soon.
Yep. Super pumped. All right, Frank. It's been a marathon. let's send it over to period number 3. Welcome to period number 3, Frank. I heard WrestleMania was off the chain.
Well, I got to be honest. I didn't watch a lick of WrestleMania besides the main event on night 2. So, I mean, I didn't. But Roman Reigns was the champ for nearly 4 years straight. I had to tune in on the biggest wrestling night of the year to see if he finally lost the title. It's everything I wanted and more. I couldn't believe what I was watching. Like, the Usos both come out, interfere in the match. John Cena comes out, tries to stop the interference and interferes himself. Then The Rock comes out, rock bottoms John Cena. Then the gong hits and the light goes out. I jump off the couch. I screamed at the top of my lungs, to be honest with you. Undertaker appears in the ring, choke slams The Rock, and then Cody Rhodes ends the 4-year title run, nearly 4-year title run. Like, what did I just witness in a matter of so much time? Like, I'm so glad that I decided to watch that match. Like, there's just something hit me. Like, Dylan said he was gonna watch it. All right, I'll toss it on because it's the main event. I want to see if he's gonna lose. Like, very emotional too. The whole story behind Cody Rhodes wanting to be a WWE champion throughout his life, and his father never was, and his father passed away, and now he finally got to become champion. Like, Pat McAfee got choked up, Michael Cole got choked up, everybody was choked up. His parents or his mom was in the ring, gave him a hug. Like, everybody's just out of character. You had people come out from the back, other wrestlers hug him and stuff. Like, very emotional. I've never seen anything quite like it when it came to like a championship win like that. It was unbelievable. And congrats to Cody Rhodes for finally finishing the story. It was fantastic.
Screw Cody Rhodes.
Wow.
Complete loser.
Go wash your mouth out.
No, what a moron.
Unbelievable.
What a crybaby. Just a complete crybaby. Roman Reigns is king. The tribal chief is king.
Tribal chiefs no more.
Screw the story. Screw it all.
And then I didn't even mention the Shield music comes out, one of Joey's favorite factions ever, and like Seth Rollins comes out in his old Shield vest to try and attack Roman Reigns. Like, what? Like, unbelievable. Like, Dean Ambrose is in AEW, so you knew he wasn't going to come out, but it was unbelievable.
Whose side was the Undertaker on?
I would guess Cody Rhodes because The Rock is in favor of Roman Reigns.
Okay, that's what I figured. Okay. So screw the Undertaker too.
Whoa, brother!
Screw
You
John Cena.
Screw John
Cena. No, The Rock is cool.
You like John Cena?
Yeah, but not at WrestleMania. I like the Undertaker too.
That's crazy.
I would probably rank the Undertaker second on my all-time favorite list.
Is he on Mount Rushmore for sure?
Of my favorites?
Yeah.
Or in general?
In your favorites?
He's certainly on in general. Yes, he's on my favorites too. Probably number 2 behind Roman Reigns.
That's crazy. Get out.
No,
he didn't defend the title. He didn't defend. He did jack shit.
Someone Cody Rhodes is just a crybaby. I want to be the champion. They give it to him. Freaking loser.
Wow. What a heel turn by VP.
No. Roman Reigns should have kept it one more time. He's probably going to be gone for a while now.
VP hates Pat McAfee.
I love Pat McAfee.
He was in favor of Cody Rhodes. He was crying for the guy.
Yeah, well, this is a bad take by Pat.
Wow.
But
wow.
I was pumped when I watched it and I saw that The Rock came out and Cena was out and the Undertaker.
It was unbelievable.
The Undertaker's probably got the most long, dramatic entrance of all time. And I think the way he did it, like short and sweet in this one, was perfect.
It just appeared.
And like, I wholeheartedly believe that there's a chance that the Undertaker is the actual one-hand man of the real devil. Like, if he is the vice president in hell right now, I would not be surprised. Like, he's got like a stairwell that gets him to hell whenever he feels like it.
When he looks at you, you just feel like you're dead.
Yeah, like I'm staring into the devil's eyes right now.
Yeah.
And so, like, I'm a little scared of the Undertaker. But if he
The
popped
Rock
up in my room, oh yeah, The Rock shit his pants for sure.
Like,
no
100%.
doubt. Yeah.
You'd shit if the lights went out in your house and he appeared in front of you. Like, you'd be
especially
down.
With those bells. 100%.
Oh God.
100%. Someone put on Twitter, put WrestleMania's events tonight in baseball terms. And I didn't even think about it this way, but someone pointed out the Yankees won back-to-back-to-back World Series. in 98, 99, and 2000. And then they made it to the World Series in 2001 and lost in Game 7.
Did that
So
really
they
happen?
Yeah, that really happened.
Sure.
That is essentially the baseball version of what just happened at
It,
WrestleMania.
it did, yeah.
Roman Reigns was looking to make it 4 complete years, and he got taken down by someone way worse than him in the
Wow.
championship second.
That's Cody
So,
Rhodes, brother. That's the American
yeah,
Nightmare.
that is the American Nightmare. Speaking of baseball, Frank, Cubs real good, White Sox real
They are.
bad. What else you got for me?
Dude, the Cubs took 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers.
They
Whew.
did. They're
They
7-4. They should be 8-3.
oh my god, that opening night loss, it's horrendous.
I'm not even thinking of that. I'm thinking about how 2 nights ago I went to sleep when it was 8-0 Cubs. I went to sleep and it was 8-0 Cubs. I woke up, they lost 9-8. I'm like,
I don't even know how that happens.
did they trade entire rosters with the White Sox for one evening? Like, what happened?
I have no idea. The fact that they're third in that division right now is unbelievable. Like, I think the Pirates come down to earth. Kind of showed signs of that the other night when they couldn't hold a 9th inning lead to the Tigers. My Tigers, VP.
Your Tigers lost a series to the A's.
It's all right. Tigers are playing great. I like what I'm seeing out of them. 7-4. Cubs 7-4. Mariners are playing piss poor. They got the same record as the Astros. These Astros, man? They're stinky.
They started off slow last year and the year before too. They'll be in the ALCS as per usual.
Oh, I hope not. I hope it's the Mariners, but
well, 2 teams make it to the ALCS.
Angels are gonna fall off soon. It's only a matter of time.
I don't think the Pirates are gonna fall completely off, though. I'm not saying they make playoffs, but
you don't think they'll win the division?
No, I think the Cubs will, but I think the Pirates will be respectable all season long. Because the way they're winning,
the division is,
they're not like grinding out wins, like getting lucky. Like they're winning games, and they beat the Orioles twice, and like they deserved to beat the Orioles twice. There was no luck involved. What was your question?
Who's the worst team in the NL Central?
When the year first started, I would have said the Pirates. I still think it's going to be the Brew Crew.
Really?
Yeah.
So you think they're really going to fall off?
Yeah, because they're in first right now, right?
No, the Pirates are in first.
The Brew Crew's in second?
Yeah, the Brew Crew is only 7-3. The Pirates are 9-3.
Yeah. Brew Crew's going to fall
they're
off.
They're a game behind.
That's one team I'm not in love with. Are the Cardinals in last right now? Wouldn't shock me if they came in last either.
Reds are pretty good. I like the Reds pitching.
I like Reds pitching, and the Reds are just fun. They're the most fun team in the NL. They had a meltdown
yesterday, but
yeah. Well, watching Ellie De La Cruz hit inside the park home runs is a treat. He made his MLB debut when we were in Door County. I'll never forget it.
Last year, 2 years
never
ago,
forget
right?
it. Last year. That's when I said I want to be a Reds guy, and I'm going to have a Reds guy on my podcast, and I did right when we got home from Door County.
Really?
The first thing I did was book a Reds guy. Yeah. I don't fuck around with that shit. All right, Frank. UConn won the national championship for the second time in a row. I was so close. You owe me an apology on Purdue. Either way. Seeds, when they lose in the first round, they make it to the championship the following year. And if a literal NBA team wasn't involved, they would have done the same thing West Virginia did.
UConn is so good. They made history. Becoming the first team since 2006 and 2007, that Florida Gators team.
Joakim Noah's Florida Gators.
And they've been so dominant over the past 2 years that they've blown every opponent out by like double digits. They won every game by double digits this year. And they were a minus spread favorite in every tournament game of the past 2 years. And they covered every one of the past 2 tournaments.
That's crazy.
That
is insane.
There was a stat that if you bet $100 on UConn minus the points in every game, and you rolled it over from last year's tournament to this year's tournament, you'd have over 230,000. And it would, in not one of the games was a sweat. You would not have sweat in one of the games, not a single one. Every single game, you'd be like, I won this easy. It never came down to like late in the game where they just barely covered. You would have won sweat free. every game and had $230,000.
Wish I knew that 2 years ago.
Like, and
Shit.
not even that. If that wasn't crazy enough, they set a new college basketball record. They won by a total combined points of 140 points throughout the tournament. They completely shattered North Carolina's record of 121 points in 2009, and they're 6-0 when they get to the championship game. Never
Wow.
lost. Just a great school and organization. Like, just
Yeah, seriously. Did you see the largest bet placed on the game?
no, I did not.
Portnoy was the largest legal bet on.
He probably took Purdue, didn't he?
He bet $600,000 on UConn before the tournament started at
Oh my God,
plus 330, which
that's crazy.
it's not great odds because there are 64 damn teams.
Yeah,
But like when you're betting $600,000 at plus 3 something,
it's 1
he
point.
won.
That's over. That's almost $2 million.
He took over 2 million.
Yeah,
It was like 2.6 million or something he got.
yeah. Not that he
Crazy.
needs it really, but
I mean,
he
the
probably
rich get
makes
richer.
2.6
That's how you
million.
get. That's how you get richer, though, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah, it's true.
I mean,
100%. Like, it's just, it's unbelievable, to be honest with you.
if there's ever a team that dominant ever again, I'm gonna bet on them going into the
Like, do
tournament.
they three-peat? See, that gets tough because you lose a
If
lot of
next
points.
year, if next year going into the tournament they're 34-3, yeah, I'm gonna put 100 on them. See what I can do. If they're 30, like, and if they don't win, I won't be mad because I'm not putting like a lot. But yeah, next year if they're 33-3 going into the tournament or whatever they could be, like like one of the top records, a 1 seed, dominant all season. Yeah, I'm putting something on them.
I don't think I know the women have won 3 in a row, but I don't think any men's team has ever won 3 in a row.
Well, not a bad time to
That's
start.
tough.
They are going to lose. They are going to lose 2 guys in the top 10 of the NBA draft.
I want to
But
look
and I'm
up
sure
really
there'll
quick.
be more. But yeah, I'm thinking about it. Someone asked. I was listening to Carmen and Yurko on ESPN 1000 this week, and they posed the question: UConn won 37 games this year. Will the White Sox win more or less? And if the White Sox won less, they would be the worst team in MLB. I think by like 10 games. So I'm going to say they win more than 37 games, but I don't know by how much.
Actually, it happened once, I think.
Who?
Wow. This is actually pretty cool. UCLA is the only team to win 3 consecutive championships
Okay.
in a
Pretty
row.
cool.
And you know who was Bill Walton was among the stars on the team. Now he's a
Oh.
broadcaster for basketball. But
I
it's
know
cool.
all about Bill Walton. I remember he called the White Sox Angels series with Benetti. Pretty cool. Frank, did you watch the Joker 2 trailer?
I didn't, only because I haven't seen the first Joker, and Dylan said that I shouldn't just watch the second one.
You should not just watch the second one. Absolutely,
Right.
Dylan is correct.
Right, so I did not. I will watch
will
the
feature-
first Joker movie because I got till October, so I'm gonna watch it.
Think of the Joker character and place him in a horror movie.
That sounds
That's
amazing.
that's what Joker is like, in my opinion.
That sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
I know Lady
And
Gaga's in the second one.
she's playing Harley Quinn.
Oh hell yeah,
Isn't that cool?
that is cool.
I mean, Margot Robbie was a good Harley Quinn. That was one of the Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn was one of the only parts about Suicide Squad that was awesome. And then her 2 solo movies were decent, especially the second one, Birds of Prey or whatever.
Yeah,
I really liked it. So we'll see how Lady Gaga does as Harley Quinn now, though.
I can't wait. I'm gonna watch the first one. I mean, me and G, we've been the movie people lately. We've seen so many movies. So
Yeah. What are you watching this weekend? Playing too.
nothing out of it. Nothing out of the normal. Just the standard. We did watch 2 new movies this week that we haven't seen before, though. We watched Society of the Snow on Netflix, which was absolutely phenomenal. It's based on a true story as well. Oscar nominee. It was really, really well done. And then we went to the show to see Monkey Man, which was pretty good. I
That's
like
Joey's
Society.
nickname in high school.
um, yeah, I mean, I like Society of Snow a tad better, but Monkey Man was pretty good too. Other than that, it's gonna be your standards, VP. Nothing out of the usual. Um, I've started this new game called You Suck at Parking. It's kind of fun. That's a good party game. Like that's a really good party game just to have like if you're out at somebody's house, you want to kill some time. Yeah, You Suck at Parking is a lot of fun. I could see us playing that one night. We're somebody or by Dylan or yeah, he's already mentioned it. He downloaded it too. It's pretty funny.
Maybe we'll play it on his birthday.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the plan. It's really funny. It's a fun game.
I would love to do that. For me, I watched Wonka.
How'd you like
The
it?
soundtrack was incredible. Loved the movie. During the
Yep.
first half, I was like, "Where the hell's this thing going? What are we doing? What is the point of all this? Why do I need to see Willy Wonka helping a hotel or whatever, like
Yep.
pay off
It's
his debt?
before he
Like, what
gets his
is?"
factory. It's
Yeah, I was thinking like, do I disagree with Frankie here? And then knowing what I know in the end, I love the whole entire movie. Like I
oh yeah.
get the first half now. Like I
Yeah.
understand everything, and I loved it. I thought
Yeah.
the ending was so sweet when he opens the chocolate. You understand where he gets the idea of the golden ticket now,
Yep.
for the future Wonkas. Like when he
Isn't
does
that crazy?
in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the book, or Willy Wonka and
Yeah.
the Chocolate Factory, the movie. Um, when he's ready to retire, he passes it along and he puts out 5 golden tickets and chocolate to try and find the next host of the factory. And he gets that idea from, no spoilies. I think we're not a year away from or a year out from the movie coming out. So I
No,
don't
no,
think
no.
it's fair to throw out any spoilies on. Now, if I spoiled Charlie and the Chocolate Factory for you, like, get out of here. The book came out. I think Roald Dahl wrote Charlie and the Chocolate Factory in like 1940. So don't talk to me about that. But this movie, I'll hold off on spoilies. But I mean, really good movie. This weekend, the national championship. What remains of the Devils' schedule? The NHL, obviously. Watch the White Sox and the MLB, of course. As far as shows, I'm need to watch yesterday's or 2 days ago Deal or No Deal Island.
That's
I am caught
yeah.
up on Survivor, ready for tonight's episode.
Deal
You
or No
probably
Deal
didn't think
Island.
you probably didn't
Really
think some. It was a little fishy with last season's Survivor. I watched a couple episodes here and there. I just fell behind, and I'd go back and watch it. Survivor is one of those shows you could go back and watch
Yeah.
and like enjoy. It's not like I would very much enjoy, but it got away from me. But this season, locked in, won't miss another episode within
Good.
days of it coming out.
Good.
Deal or No Deal Island, same thing. It doesn't come to Peacock or Paramount, whatever it's on, till Tuesday. So if I don't watch it live on Monday, I can't watch it. So it's basically a Tuesday show for me. So in
Mhm.
my brain, it's a Monday show for people like you probably.
Yeah, I watched it.
It's a Tuesday show for me because that's when it comes to streaming.
But
Because
there
I
are
do
times where I
Southbird's.
watch it Tuesday because I don't watch it live. I didn't watch
Yeah,
it live
I do
this week. I
Southbird's.
watched it yesterday.
Yeah, and I do Southbird's Hitman on Monday, and there's sports on at the prime time. So like, I hardly watch stuff live, so I have to go back and put it on streaming. And so Survivor is usually a Thursday show for me, to be honest with you, because that's when it comes to Paramount Plus. So we'll have that all watched by our next show, though. Excited about it. I want to watch Joker now, though. I don't know if Katie will like it. I mean, you think the Joker in it's 2 different kinds of Jokers. In The Dark Knight, he's more of like an anarchist,
hmm
where like he just likes to create chaos.
hmm
In this one, he's got like psychology issues. Like you're like, well, they all have psychology issues. He's a mass murder. Like, I mean, like actual like schizophrenia and stuff like that. Like, and that's what gives it a little bit of like a horror
Who
vibe.
plays the Joker?
Joaquin Phoenix.
Oh,
And
okay. That's who I thought.
I think he's the second best Joker of my lifetime, which is also your lifetime.
Right.
Like, I think he's the second best Joker. And we'll see where Lady Gaga ranks next to Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. But if the Greatest Showman is the Greatest Showman that Lady Gaga's in, if
No,
that is
that's
any,
Zendaya.
what am I thinking of?
You're thinking of Star is Born.
If she's as good at
With
acting in
Bradley
this as she
Cooper.
was, yeah, if she's as good as acting in A Star Is Born as she is in the Joker she was in The Star Is Born,
Yeah,
she's gonna play Harley Quinn real well,
I
real well.
I
So,
hope. I'm excited. We'll watch the Joker obviously before it came out. We did that with Dune before Dune 2 came out. We watched Dune, so
yeah,
yeah.
and also Frank, I've never seen seasons 3, 4, and 5 of Yu-Gi-Oh,
You've never seen
and
really?
I have no idea how it ends. No
I don't know
clue.
how it ends, but I got through season 4. I didn't start the
I'm
5th.
well into season 3 as of the last couple months. I've watched 100 episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh in the last
You
couple weeks.
for some I don't know why, but I started GX back in the day. Yu-Gi-Oh!
Uh-huh.
GX. It's worth watching the first ep for sure. It was
I'm
unbelievable.
sure
It
it's
connects to
amazing.
the original. It
Yeah,
connects to the original Yu-Gi-Oh!
I'm sure it's amazing. And so I've seen the movie that comes at the end of GX, and Yugi's in it, and so is Kaiba. Um, I will be venturing into GX once I'm done with the Duel Monsters version. I think the normal version is called I think it's Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters is the name of the
Mhm.
show technically, and then it's
What are you
Yu-Gi-Oh!
watching on?
GX.
What is it on?
It's on Hulu.
Oh, okay.
It is available on Hulu. And then I have to watch the Yu-Gi-Oh movie in between seasons 3 and 4 is what I read. And then I will be doing GX, and then I went to the movie theater with all of our friends in like 2017 or whatever to watch the movie that came after GX. I'm all in. I
Mhm.
love it. I absolutely think it's one of the best animes of all time. So fully invested in that. I probably will bust out a couple episodes this weekend for sure. It's been like 3
Cool.
or 4 days since I've watched one. But yeah. All right, Frank. It's time for America's favorite podcast segment of the week. Breaking Bets.
Where's my money, bitch?
Sup, dude?
What's up?
Floor is
I got
yours.
VP. The climb is real. The climb is real. The climb is real. It's been fantastic actually. The win loss. We're pumping right now. We're absolutely pumping. To bring it back to 50% in April, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I'm gonna start off with the hockey pick. It's usually what I do. I got the Vegas Golden Knights and the Edmonton Oilers tonight. What a treat. Only 3 games tonight. Probably gonna be the most entertaining of the 3 in terms of skill and action. The Oilers come into this game a whole lot hotter than the Vegas Golden Knights, but they also come into this game with uncertainty of Connor McDavid, if he's going to play or not. Like, if McDavid doesn't play, there's a lot of value on the Knights, who come into this game on a 2-game losing streak, going to bounce back. But there aren't a lot of moments where a team as good as the Knights also lose 3 games in a row. And if McDavid doesn't play, that's a plus for the Knights. Even if McDavid does play, I think the Knights are more than capable of picking up a win here, regardless. Like, I love the value that we got right now while McDavid's status is up in the air. Right now, the Golden Knights money line is plus 100. So before it's announced if McDavid is playing tonight, because he's a game time decision, I jump on that. And even if he does play, I think the Knights are more than capable of winning this game. So we're going to go with the Vegas Golden Knights money line at plus 100, bet to win 2 units on that one. Second pick, We got the Orlando Magic and the Milwaukee Bucks playing together tonight. If you watch Breaking Bets on a regular, you know the number one rule is that 98% of the time you fade teams that are on a back-to-back. Unfortunately, we can't do that here because the Bucks and Magic both played last night. However, the Bucks don't have to travel as they played home last night, and the Magic played in Houston. Going to be a travel day for Orlando. They had to travel last night. So I'm going to side with the home team in this one on the back-to-back. I think the Magic are going to be a bit extra tired from all the traveling. The legs may get a little bit wobbly, and the Bucks got it done last night against the best record team in the NBA, the Boston Celtics. They beat them by 13 points last night. You could also say, they're due for a letdown after a big win, but with both teams playing on a back-to-back and the Magic having to travel, I'm going to lean towards the Bucks. Money line, -105, bet to win 5 units. The only scary thing here is Antetokounmpo is not playing tonight, but with Brooks Lopez and Damian Lillard, I think they have the talent to get it done just because of, like I said, it's a back-to-back for the Magic as well, and they did travel. So I'm going to go with the Bucks here on this one. And then also, I'm going to do another NBA pick. I'm going to skip out on the MLB this week just because there wasn't anything I loved. And I did love this pick. The Phoenix Suns are playing the Los Angeles Clippers tonight. This is another case where both teams played back-to-back, except last night they both played against one another. So it's a home and home for these two teams. The Clippers got the best of the Suns last night with a nice 13-point victory on the road. This Suns team, though, they're too good to lose back-to-back against the same team. And just like last night, we're not going to have Kawhi Leonard. We're not going to have James Harden. We're not going to have Paul George. And last night when I looked at this, when I wrote this down, the Suns money line was -130. And that's what I wrote it down as. And that's what I got it in as. Bet to win 3 units at Suns money line -130. Unfortunately, because Breaking Bets isn't till today, the next day, the Suns are huge favorites now. They're -7.5 point favorites. It's like -200 and something. If you're willing to lay the juice and you want to bet it, go for it. If not, lay it with something else. Put it with something else on this list if you want it, because I just don't think the Suns are going to lose back-to-back games against the Clippers. It's tough to do, and they got a talented team, and they didn't perform last night, which I can't see them underperforming 2 nights in a row against the same team. So I like the Suns money line -130, bet to win 3 units. Unfortunately, that's not what it is anymore, but that's what it got it in as. So that's what I got for you guys.
Very good, Frank. Very, very good. Wonderful work on Breaking Bets. Hopefully, from this moment forward, you will be over 50% for the rest of the calendar year, the year of our Lord and Savior, 2024. What else you got for me on this fine podcast? Long Hart Trophy discussion led to a long podcast.
It did. Very good podcast, very good show. I'm very happy with how everything went down. Yeah, I'm happy. It was a good show. Glad we got YouTube up and running. But I don't know how that's going to work in terms of posting. It's probably, if it does post to YouTube, the first 20 minutes is probably going to be cut off. But other than that, we got it fixed in the end. Beautiful weather. Can't wait to watch Survivor. We're cooking, VP. We're just straight cooking.
We're cooking. We're in that fun time of year now. I'm pumped about it. I hope everybody enjoyed today's show. Make sure you listen to the rest of the shows on the Barroom Network. Crosstown Crosstalk is in flux. We're trying to get it all figured out, but got some big things coming with that show. And then South Burbs Hitman every Monday evening. I know the Draft on Tap guys are getting their stuff ready to pump out with the 2024 NFL Draft coming in just a few weeks. The Chicago Bears have the #1 overall pick. They're expected to select USC star quarterback Caleb Williams, and then they have pick #9 as well. That's their own pick. So we'll see what they do with that. I'm super pumped about it. We'll be talking about it coming up in the next couple weeks on these Wednesday shows. We're on Draft Eve, so we have a good time slot with this show on Draft Eve in 2 weeks. So super stoked about that. Read all Frankie's stuff. Read all my stuff. It has been a pleasure. Chicago Hockey Now. Follow at Shy Hockey Now. We'll be in the press box next season, boys. That's what we're aiming for. So very, very good stuff. I'm thankful, happy for everybody who joined the chat. Sorry about the YouTube technical difficulties early in the show, but that happens from time to time. At least my mic didn't go out in the third period.
Yeah. For sure.
You know, it's always nice when that doesn't happen, right? Frank, do you listen to other podcasts or no? Not really.
Uh, once in a blue moon, but not too often.
Okay. The Section 10 podcast came back, and yesterday's episode was some of the hardest I've ever laughed at a podcast, and I just could not stop. It's Red Sox themed, but the comedy in the podcast is just so funny. I'm upset. It is my number one all time favorite podcast, and it left me for 2 years, and it came back, and it was the greatest day ever when I found out they were coming back. I mean, true,
That's right.
genuine happiness. I love the show so much. The intro to this show pays homage to the intro to that show. It's not exactly the same, but it's pretty close, and it's because of my love for them. It's a tribute. Imitation is the most sincere form of flattery. That is my thought process on
It's
that.
good that it's
So
back.
it's good that it's back. And make sure you listen to that. Make sure you listen to all the great shows here on the Barroom Network. And for the great Aldo Gandia, that's Frank Mueller at the King Bean on Twitter. I'm at Vinny Parisi on Twitter. And as always, thank you for listening.